What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of RGTP, and we are back this Wednesday. Hope everybody had a happy Turkey Day. Mamba, how we doing today? We're back
I'm
to talk
doing
some
great,
football
bro.
and some
Before we got on
basketball.
here, before we jump into the sports, there's a movie coming out called Cocaine Bear. I don't know if you've seen the trailer for it, bro. That shit is going to be hilarious. That's all. Like, just the trailer alone, that shit's going to be hilarious.
Okay, I hear
And
you.
it is exactly what you think. It's a bear strung out, bro.
It's a sports movie. Are we sure?
No. It's not a sports movie. It's just.
Oh,
I feel like it might have happened. Like a bear strung out on coke. Sounds like an article I've seen before, but they made it a movie, and there's actually some pretty good actors in it. So they tried with this movie.
That is crazy. I already got a comment down below. Thank you for tuning in. Don't worry, Nips. Hope your daughter's feeling well. I actually missed a week because my daughter was also sick. Both my kids were sick, and then obviously Turkey Day. So we have not been live on Wednesdays these last 2 weeks. So we're back to bounce back. We're here strong. And what better place to start than, one of the best sports in the world?
His team?
On the hardwood.
His team.
We're starting with the basketball news. Of course, the NBA has continued. Sort of the first quarter of the season is has concluded. About 20 games or so have been played amongst all NBA teams. A couple got 19 here and there, like 20-22 range. But nonetheless, quarter one is over. There's a lot of early chatters. Luka, Steph, Giannis, JT, who's the MVP, going back and forth is a lot.
Get that man some help.
Oh, Jesus. Trust me, because Dallas is on our list of teams to talk about today. We will talk about Luka and his help. But, of course, you said it. Nips' team, my team, the team I try to ride with early on.
It's happened.
The Utah Jazz, a better place to start. A few weeks ago, they were the number one team in the Western Conference, and now they sit at the 8th seed, 12-11.
And 2-8 in their last 10.
The signs,
on a 5-game losing streak.
Hey, now the signs of the rebuild are starting to show just a little bit on the Utah Jazz side of things. So, Mom, you said you wanted to start here, man.
Yeah.
What are you noticing about the Utah Jazz and the a little bit of a skid they got going on?
They have pieces for their future. They don't, obviously a team will be like, hey, maybe we'll give you this for Sexton or we'll give you this for Laurie. Laurie and Sexton should be the only untouchables on this team right now.
Okay.
Yeah, Laurie's balling, the 22-8, and then Sexton they locked him up 4 years, I believe, $60 million.
Yep.
He's still young enough for it to be their lead guard. Obviously, you need a little bit more next to Sexton because he's smaller. Right. He's going to play hard defensively. Sometimes his efficiency isn't the best, but since Mike Conley has been off, with this injury, and Sexton have him in like all of my fantasy leagues, so he has been putting up better numbers. Yes, they've started to lose more,
right?
But the pieces that you want to see what you get from them, Sexton, Laurie, Jared Vanderbilt's averaging like 8 and 8, right? Clarkson's still 19. So you can keep the Laurie and the Sexton and the Vanderbilts for your future, and whoever you get in this draft, we'll stop mentioning his name because it's who everyone wants, but not everyone's going to be able to get him, right? They have pieces going forward. It's just their over-expectance of what they did in the beginning. It always happens. There's always a team every year in the beginning,
The Wizards caught me last year.
Yeah, it happened to be the Jazz this year. And
every team that I like.
Yeah.
Every team that I like. Nips says he is getting ready. He hopes they can snap their 5-game skid. Nips,
let me know,
are you a ticket holder? Are you a season ticket holder? I feel like you've told us a couple times you're going to a few games already this season. You got to be a ticket holder. He says Laurie is starting to get figured out. He's getting physical on him. And that's sort of how it is. Now the teams are sort of gelling better. There's more chemistry. Teams are playing. They're
figuring out what your schemes are offensively, defensively.
Exactly. A lot of teams are starting to get figured out. The good teams are obviously going to continue to flourish. The bad teams are going to continue to struggle. And the mid teams, you're still trying to find your identity because we're going to talk about quite a bit of teams that feel like they're just kind of stuck in the same area for what feels like years now. And it looks like it's going in the same direction. Utah is headed for the lottery, though. It's kind of sad. I'm still gonna.
But it's kind of not at the same time. Like outside of the top
No.
two, there is still depth in this draft.
Oh, every draft,
where,
every
you
draft.
know, like not a bad draft to be bad.
Nips gets 2 free tickets online. They actually play your Clippers tonight.
Not.
There we
Oh,
go. Your injury riddled Clippers.
yeah, y'all are gonna lose.
2 free bets.
Did you see that comeback they had yesterday? I was watching a Clippers game, and I'm like, oh my god, we're getting blown out.
I was watching
of course.
I watched
I finally catch a
Golden
Clippers
State
game,
Mavs
and we
game too,
suck. And then they made a nice comeback.
Yeah, it was like
man.
90 to like 70 something, and then I looked again, it was like 98 or 93, and I was like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
I was like, I want to go eat for 2 seconds, and I just came back. How? But yes.
Norman Powell's how.
It's very true. Very true. Jazz continuing. Hopefully they're winning ways, and hopefully not they're losing ways. Clippers are banged up, so we'll see how they do tonight. Let's take a trip out onto the East for a team that's probably getting Victor Wembanyama. The 5-18 Detroit Pistons have officially lost Cade Cunningham about 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And it's presumably he will be out for maybe a month, maybe a little
indefinite. Yeah, I saw it was a stress fracture in his lower leg.
They have no rush currently to bring him back. Obviously not. He's a young player. He's set to be the cornerstone of the franchise for what they hope is the next decade. So of course he's not going to be rushed back. But sadly, guys like Sadiq Bey and Killian Hayes have not been able to jump and take the ball and run with it.
Calm down with Sadiq. He's coming off an injury too. He's only had a couple games back.
Yeah, he started off the year a little.
Great. I have him in the one league that I really care about, and he's had flashes, and just like last year, he's had the flashes.
Yep.
It's just getting him on that core, and then getting him in the rhythm of. I feel like when Cade is in there, Sadiq should be their leading scorer. Like, he is the one who should be taking over games for them, I feel like. But it's Bogdanovich.
Of course.
Bogdanovich is still averaging 22, so maybe it's the bogey being there, taking some of the shots. And Beef Stew, we talked about this. I asked you last time we talked about him, if he was shooting threes like that. About 37% on 4 attempts a game. That's not bad. That's not bad.
He was working in the offseason.
I would love my center to do that. He averages about 12 and 9. That's not bad.
He is on one. You guys got Zubox, who just went crazy a few weeks
31 and 29 a couple nights ago.
Just fine. But yeah, this team is, there's some players that haven't been able to fully set up. Killian Hayes has felt like he's been taking a step backwards the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, this is his last chance probably for the Pistons to prove anything to them. I'm good enough for me to stay around and help this team win even when Cade comes back, or I can do a little bit of stuff, but it's probably best if we trade you to another team because you're not fitting in,
Yeah, they slightly turned into kind of what the Kings had a few years ago when they picked up Fox, Halliburton, and then drafted Davion Mitchell. It's sort of the same thing. They brought in Jaden Ivey, who has picked up the ball and is running for it. Exactly. He's
potential rookie of the year
right now, and he is hoping. And Killian Hayes just kind of feels like the odd man out at the moment.
And it's sad because he was the first guard out of all 3 of them.
It happens. It does. It absolutely happens. He might be looking like he's might be looking to move out. We sort of seen that also in Portland. They did the Damian Lillard CJ experiment. In comes Anthony Simons. You got to shake things up. Got to move on from some players. So Killian Hayes is not looking that.
And his offensive numbers, like shooting wise, teams are gonna look at it and be like, "Yeah, you can get us some playmaking, a little bit of defense, but like, if you can't provide even the average, like what is it, probably like 36%, around 34, 36% from the 3, we can't get that from you. There's probably not much of a spot for you on the team."
Yeah, his best game was against the Celtics a couple weeks ago, and he just hasn't really been showing flashes. Yeah, random, but they still lost.
No, that's what happens though. The random teams are beating better teams, and then you're like, wait, what? This don't make no damn sense. What is happening? Yeah.
It is tragic. Let's jump on over to the West because you mentioned it. Get Luka some help. Dallas Mavericks are sitting at a 10-10 record. And these are kind of one of the teams that feels like in the last decade, even back to the Dirk years, towards the end, even it's like they've just kind of been a middle of the pack team in the Western Conference for what feels like the past 10 years.
Yep.
They haven't been one of the best teams. They haven't been just one of the flat out worst teams, although they did have that year where they obviously drafted Luka. But
Yeah.
they've just kind of been like a meh kind of team. And despite having one of the NBA's best young stars, they're still just meh.
Yeah, it's the pieces they put around Luka.
Mark Cuban got them.
It's interesting. JaVale McGee was brought in to be the starting center. He gets about 3 to 10 minutes a night now. Christian Wood, we're only getting offense out of him. And when he's on there, you don't want him on there because does his offense make up for the defense that he's not, giving the team? Dwight Powell's been starting for like 18 minutes a game. Granted, Dwight Powell is one of their like all-time greats for like wins and stuff. No, it's true. I saw a video.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was like, yeah, it don't make no damn sense. But they just Tim Hardaway, he had 20 the other night, but that was like his first 20 in who knows how long.
Well, he was injured throughout the playoffs last year, missed some of the
Reggie Bullock, he stepped up for him last year, but Reggie Bullock hasn't really shot the ball like he did last year. Davis Bertans, like their team is just so weirdly constructed. Like you said, with Dirk, they have the one star and then they put pieces around him. But they put Jason Kidd, who was still serviceable, even though he was older.
Sean Marion, Tyson Chandler. They had
exactly.
the defensive
Jason
identities.
Terry.
Some of that.
JJ Barea. He's not defense, but he get the ball to Dirk. He could hit a shot every once in a while for him, But with Luka, it's maybe Dinwiddie, maybe Hardaway, just signed Kemba. He ain't giving you no damn defense.
That's going to be interesting.
Maxi Kleba, he's been off and on, I believe, with injury this year. So he's trying to get back to where he's been with them. And it's just a weird team. And they got to play more defense because Luka cannot do everything for them.
Yeah, I think the hope is for Kemba to be able to come in and give them some solid minutes. And I'm expecting some
Jalen Brunson role.
Something like that. I'm expecting some 3-guard lineups where him, Dinwiddie, and Luka will be out there together. It's not going to be the prettiest defense, but it's going to be some scoring, a lot of more facilitating, and just another guy to maybe give Luka off the ball a little bit more to conserve him a little more. Because if he's going to give you 38 and 8 every night, at some point, God forbid, he's probably going to get injured, maybe nicked or something like that. And then if he misses a couple games, you guys start losing 4 or 5 games. Especially in the West, that goes a long way from being the 4th seed to the play-in.
Yep.
Gotta definitely get him some help ASAP.
And I haven't looked at the stat in a minute, but you saying if he's doing the 38 and 8 every night, no team where they have one player with their usage rating being so high, they never go far. Like they can make the playoffs, but they never go far because once you hit the playoffs, it's like lock that man up.
Yep.
We will double team you.
We've seen it with Harden for years.
Exactly. We will do everything to stop him because we know he's the only one doing something for you.
Exactly.
Christian Wood, he's cool off the bench. He just does not give you defense, and that's what you need next to Luka. And if you're going to keep Christian, you need to get better defenders to hide Luka and Christian Wood, and that's tough in itself.
Yeah, no, they're definitely going to have to get him some help. Nip says, send him to Utah. They will take good care of him.
Will you, though?
Maybe they should call Utah for some of those pieces, maybe. You guys got a couple unique pieces over there. Get him some help, maybe. But, yeah, hopefully.
Jared Vanderbilt would be great with them. Do you call up the Suns, who are a team that do they call them up and, hey, what you want for Crowder? I don't know. I was gonna say John Collins, but he's giving you the same thing as Christian Wood and a worse shooter.
A lot going on. Let's move on to the East, down to where you're at in particular, the Miami Heat. We talked about them struggling. Nothing has changed. They're sitting at 10 and 11.
Well, they are 6-4 in their last 10, so a little less struggle. They're winning more than losing.
They allow the 8th fewest points per game, so that's good. But this team ranks in the bottom 10 in points, rebounds, and assists. What the hell is going on with the Miami Heat culture all of a sudden?
I don't think it's the culture. I think it's just they put a lot of money into the wrong people, and
You're
it's
calling out
showing.
Duncan Robinson and a little
Yeah,
shots at Kyle
uh,
Lowry.
a little bit. And Kyle Lowry, he's playing his most minutes since
Yeah,
2018, 2019. So, like, he's been
I
playing.
I think it took him
But,
like a year to acclimate to Heat
yeah,
culture. I feel like, and
yeah.
we're kind of seeing a couple flashes
But
now.
Caleb Martin. Caleb Martin has been their one bright spot this year, I feel like. Like, Tyler Hero, he's been okay. He's getting his 18. You know, he had a triple-double, I think, last time he played. Jimmy Butler's been hurt. Bam, he's played better since I, said he can't do this big shit by himself. They need to get him someone else. 20-9, like that's solid. He's taken the most shots he's ever taken. It's just not enough.
Yeah.
They don't have enough of everything like together. Like Victor Oladipo, he's hurt. That would be some nice scoring and some nice defense. Jimmy, he's hurt. Nice scoring, good defense. They got a little bit of everything, just not everything put together right now.
Yeah, it's tough. Miami was going strong, obviously, when they went to the bubble, 4th seed, got all the way to the finals, made some noise.
Pushed the
On.
Lakers, was hoping that they beat them. Get Jimmy
they
that
was
ring.
out here. Jimmy got there and sort of set the tempo, and I feel like now it's losing a lot of its shine, and it's Thunder, it's Heat, sort of the way it was going. All that momentum has fizzled out over the years, and now everyone's just like, all right, Miami's back to kind of being what Dallas was after LeBron and Dwayne Wade and Bosh. It's like they're okay, but no one is out here thinking that they are a threat anymore.
Yeah, think about like who backs up Bam. It's Omer, who's been off and on. Jovic has played a little bit of center. Like they don't have proper depth. It is their issue. Like they have depth,
a couple times.
They have pieces, but it's just like the pieces don't fit.
Right.
You're a jigsaw puzzle, and you're missing the entire middle, and all you have left are the border pieces that are already put together, kind of.
Yeah, no, for sure. Bam needs to be treated closer to an AD, Giannis, maybe kind of cat now, where they should play a little more 4, but they can play 5 when need be. But he needs more. He shouldn't be down there having to be not only arguably one of your best passers on the team. He's literally has to be. It's either him, Jimmy, or Lowry, sort of running the offense. He's trying
Tyler does it at times.
He's trying to do the most, get the most rebounds, and be the only rim protector. He definitely needs help where he can play the 4 a little bit. Maybe get him a 5 that can space the floor and shoot a little bit. And something. It's Brook Lopez has just made it seem so easy.
DPOY right there.
I just shoot threes and block shots. Like that's it. That's all he does.
Exactly what he does. Yes.
That is sort of the player Bam could use next to him because he doesn't necessarily have to be down there.
That's another,
something like that. Something like that. They need to get him a little more
Crowder, help.
But maybe him coming back would be better for them. They might be missing a guy like that.
Beneficial off the bench because, honestly, Caleb Martin at that 4 spot, he's 20 points back to back with 9 boards too. Like, yeah, I'm glad I picked him up. I'm glad. Yeah.
Let's take a trip for another team that now actually was a bottom team. A bunch of scrubs, didn't matter. Now they're a little bit of a mid-tier team right now. The Sacramento Kings sitting at a 10-9.
Like
record.
The beam.
They're the beam. The fucking beam is ridiculous to me.
Their last 10, bro. Their last 10, they're 7-3. And they're on a 3-game losing streak, so they were 7-0 at one point.
They won some games this season. This team though has a bit of a mix. There's some youth. There's some veteran. There's it's weird because De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis fall under sort of the tweener role of veteran player and still in their young. They're
they get into their prime.
It's like kind of great time to have them, and then you guys, you have the Davion Mitchells and the Keegan Murrays, and then you have more veterans.
You
Malik Monk's
consider
kind
Malik
of
Monk in that? Yeah,
he's
he's
kind
kind
of
of.
the you know what I mean. This team
Yeah,
is in like an interesting
Harrison
transition of
Barnes is like their
youth
oldest
and
guy.
veterans with
Yep,
some mentors and some guys that have won some games, some guys with
yep,
experience. Not bad, Kevin Herter's there, like another guy's
yep,
been in the, he's not 30 years old, but he's been in the league for a couple years, so he knows how
yep.
to get it done. And he's having
Been
a
in the Eastern
career year.
Conference Finals.
He's having a career year. So how are you feeling
Yes.
about the Sacramento Kings this season? We're hoping that the
I'm glad I
Sabonis.
overreacted.
Okay.
When the NBA season first started and we talked about them, I was like, well, we were bamboozled again. They are a mid team. Like they are just an average team. Their offense is great, but it's the defense that brings them down as well.
Yeah.
And it makes sense when you look at the roster. Like, okay, yeah, you're probably not guarding too much. You can stop a little bit, but
Right.
when a team like the Celtics have Tatum and Brown, or you're going against the Lakers who have AD and LeBron and Russell off the bench is solid, like, or you're going up against the Clippers where every once in a while you got Paul George going up
Every
against them,
once in a while.
and then Norman Powell will be shooting sometimes. It's just they don't have the stopper.
Stoppers.
Exactly. They don't have the stopper. They have the offense. They have people who will buy into playing defense, but they don't have the ball stopper, the score stopper. They don't have that yet.
Yeah, I agree. That's sort of where it is. Mitchell obviously showing flashes in college and early on in his rookie year that he had potentials of being a stopper, but he a little bit undersized. But maybe he can eventually flourish and play Patrick Beverley type role for this team where he can lock up here and there. We'll have to see what the Keegan Murray defense is going to look like in the future. And Harrison Barnes may just have to buy in on playing a little bit more sturdy defense out there. We know Kevin Herter ain't guarding nobody or Malik Monk.
Harrison Barnes will probably be traded by the trade deadline or on
Probably.
trade deadline. Like
There's
him with the Heat, bro. Him with the Suns potentially. Like that seems like
a lot of
solid.
teams could use a big body wing that can score some points. So Harrison Barnes definitely
buy into your defense.
Definitely a team to look at for sure. Let's continue onward. One more mid team before we actually talk to some teams that got some pretty decent winning records. The Atlanta Hawks are sitting at 11-10. One of the best rebounding teams in the entire NBA. But there is, of course, sort of the elephant in the room for that team over the last few seasons is what to make of John Collins. Mamba, is it about time we talked about this?
It's been time, bro.
It's Aaron Gordon all over again.
Yeah,
it's Aaron Gordon.
I think
I'd
rather prefer Aaron Gordon.
I would not. I can't.
The money.
Oh,
yeah.
Maybe I guess
the money. Yeah.
It is a 6'8", 6'9", hyper athletic power forward that can kind of space the floor a little bit.
But all he wants to do is dunk.
It's a weird player. Fascinating player, really, because the potential
got his money.
The potential to be a shooter, dunker, kind of be sort of a bit of an all-around scorer, and have the athleticism that the John Collins and Aaron Gordon have. Like, you should be a problem defensively. Like, you should have some flashes, and John Collins sort of has just run stale, it feels like, in Atlanta.
Yeah, and then John Collins next to Onyeka or John Collins next to Capella. It don't work because Collins he's shooting 25%. You're shooting 25%. You're barely playing defense. Like, it's time. Like, thank you. Said it in the beginning, too. Like, they're going to be okay, but we were going to get it's John Collins. But it is part
and their
of John
bench
Collins.
is dookie.
Yeah, AJ Griffin, the rookie, is like their best guy. Him and DeAndre are like the only two when I look at the team. Like, okay, like they're trying to fill their role. But Trae Young and DeJounte, bro, and this is what I wrote. They get theirs, but there's no cohesion at all. Like, Trae Young gets his shot. DeJounte. All right, my turn. Trae Young, my turn. Your turn, my turn. I was watching that Rockets game, right? And they were bucket after bucket. Yep. DeJounte's patting dude on the head, like, clowning them, and they lost.
Oh, yeah.
Trae Young and DeJounte, I'm sure everyone's seen it, combined for 83 points in a loss, bro.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
You're joking? You're two top players. Yeah, no defense. It really, if your offense is good, your team has no defense. If you're look at your Celtics. Y'all's defense ranks bottom of the league, but your offense is literally like number
We're
one
missing
because
Robert Williams.
yeah, no,
Big time.
but that's just the way it feels this year. If your offense is good, you don't play defense. If your defense is good, your offense probably a little missing. But I don't know, man. This Hawks team playing probably playing, but anything else other than that, I don't know.
I hear it.
And what do you get back for John Collins? Because that's what, $70-90 million a team's going to have to take on? Do you call up the Heat and you're like, oh, yeah, I mean, we don't play defense already. You know, we'll take on Duncan Robinson, you know, to make the money match. And then something, I don't know, bro.
That's not a bad call because you could tell that they're missing a guy like Kevin Huerter, who we just talked about having a killer year. They could use something off the bench to give him some juice.
Slot DeAndre at the 4, so it'd be what? It'd be Trae Young, DeJounte. Do you bring in AJ to be the 3 and then DeAndre to the 4?
You probably experiment with that for a few weeks and try to figure out what gets you the most optimized lineups.
When Bogdanovich comes back from his injury, you slot him in at the 3 to give a little bit more spacing, and DeAndre at the 4. You know, like it feels like that would be their optimized. Yes, the John Collins, it's done. It's done.
Yeah, the John Collins in Atlanta feels like it's run its course. Let's continue moving onward. Oh.
Could you trade John Collins for Ben Simmons? You probably don't want Ben Simmons next to Capella or Onyeka, but at least Ben Simmons will maybe – he stepped it up, and I know we're not talking Nets, but like what Ben Simmons wants to do could literally be maybe the glue piece to connect Trae and DeJounte, right?
Well,
like he runs the offense and he gets the ball to them. You know, like that would be interesting as well.
I hear it. I'm still waiting for Ben Simmons to actually flourish. I've been fucking defending that man for a couple years now.
I'm
fucking pissing me off.
I like him. I like Ben. I hope he can.
I do too. But he needs to stop averaging fucking 6'2" and 2 and fucking play basketball. God damn it. Let's keep moving onwards, though. The Memphis Grizzlies are 12-8. John Morant's doing his thing. Triple J is back. Another one of the better rebounding teams in the NBA. And, of course, they just play hard. This team plays hard. Another team, a lot like the Kings, they have sort of a nice mix of veterans and experience, but also have nice youth. Desmond Bane's another guy having
25, 5, and 5.
He said I was robbed of most improved last year. Now he wants to win it for real this year.
Yes.
He's trying to win it for real.
Potential all-star.
Yep.
Like if he can continue these numbers,
it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough.
No, it will. But if Memphis can keep like top 5, and you have Ja averaging his 28, 6, and 6, and then you have Desmond Bane with 25, 5, and 5. You don't put Klay Thompson in just because he's a name. You know, like
I hear it.
Desmond Bane has a true shot at being an all-star this year, the way he's playing.
Chris Paul, Damian Lillard been banged up.
He shouldn't be in
names.
There. Yep.
Klay is another one that's been sort of inconsistent. So maybe, we kind of get that every year in the West. There's sort of back and forth, especially in the guard position on who's going to be where.
And then you never know about if a player makes it, but they can't make it, so he's an injury replacement.
Yeah, of course. You got injury reserves. People get traded, moved, across, but we gotta wait and see. I'm excited though. This Memphis team is looking pretty good.
Triple J, 3 blocks, 3 blocks a game. Yes,
act like he never left. He defense that fouling everybody.
Yeah.
That's really his thing. He fouls.
That's been his thing since he's came into the league.
Yeah, he fouls like crazy, but he plays hard as hell on defense.
Yes.
Him next to Steven Adams is almost like such a great 1-2 punch when it comes to rebound, defending, rim protection, doing some of the dirty work. Like it feels like such a perfect 1-2 punch. But yeah, I'm excited about this team. Desmond Bane's taking even bigger leaps than what he did last season. So now Josh sort of has someone he can rely on because I know a lot of people were hyping up Dylan Brooks as sort of that.
Yeah.
Dylan Brooks had that stretch where it was questionable if he was the second best player on the team. Now it's not bad if he's Mr. 4 steps up
4,
and
5,
becomes a 3, maybe does a little so that's not bad. This team again has depth, has youth, has some veteran experience, a good coach, has leadership, and Ja just leads the locker room, and everyone, at least that I feel like, everyone in the NBA loves Ja Morant. It's really hard
Yeah,
not to
I
like
feel
him.
like everyone believes Ja Morant will be the best player in a couple years. Like, I believe Shaq had him as like the best player over Giannis, over Luka.
Tough.
I just feel like there's been multiple videos I've watched where they're like, yes, Ja is the next guy. And it's like,
It's hard. Hey, it's
I
tough.
hear it because, like he be doing his thing, but we still got guys like Giannis and Luka, and LeBron's still there and Curry's still there, and
We got
like
another
I
wave
know
of
it'll
players
be. I know
coming.
they said a few years, but like in a few years, yeah, Ja can be even better than he is now. But what's stopping Giannis or Luka or Joel or Nikola
Yeah.
Jokic or someone else taking their game to that level?
Oh, I
But
agree.
yeah, Ja baller.
Ja has been hooping. Sitting at 12-8, not too bad. We'll have to see sort of where they go in sort of the future, because this is another team, like previously mentioned, sort of just in the middle, anywhere from the 4th to like the 6th, 8th seed, sort of just a team that they make it to the playoffs. No one's taken too seriously, but now with John Company, it looks like they might be making a few more pushes around.
Yes.
Making a few more pushes around out there. Let's hop on over to the Eastern Conference as we wrap up our last 3 teams here. We have the 12-9 Philadelphia 76ers, the number 1 rated offense in the NBA, but much like Miami, bottom tier in points, rebounds, and assists. Harden is out. PJ
Embiid's missed
Tucker
time.
is played like 100 and something billion minutes and has only scored 3 points. That stat was hilarious for like a week, because that's all anyone could ever talk about. But of course, guys like Tyrese Maxey have been taking their leaps and bounds.
He's injured too, though.
Yeah,
Unfortunate.
he's trying to show his flashes. Tobias Harris had a big game a few days ago to eke them out a victory. I forget who they played. I was watching some of that game though. But this is another team kind of they got to figure some things out though. They got guys like PJ Tucker, who they thought would be a bigger impact, currently not doing too much. For some reason, Matisse Thybulle has been like regulated to 15th man for some reason. I don't know what the fuck happened to Matisse Thybulle.
When he stands on off, man standing in a corner, like.
He kind of has the Ben Simmons, Tony Allen early on effect. Yeah, sort of where it's like, all right, we ain't even gonna guard you. We ain't got to worry about you shooting. The Russ effect, kind of whatever. But defensively, he's been great. But it seems like his lack of offense has found him regulated more to being on the bench. Sadly.
Yeah, it'd be like that though when you can't provide offense.
Defense too. He's all defense a few years ago.
Okay. Like, people be all defense all the time, but like, you can't play offense. It feels like offense has taken over basketball. Like, offense.
Yeah.
But this 76ers team, man, they've had injuries off and on. Embiid's been hurt, but then he comes back and he drops 59.
Right.
Harden's been off. Maxey's now off. When everybody's gone, they've had Shake step up. Tobias has showed like, yeah, I get forgotten about, but like when they're gone, I'm still here. D'Anthony Melton, he's been solid for him. Paul Reed, off the bench, solid for him. Like, once you get into the playoffs, obviously it'll be like, okay, who are your top 8? But regular season, this team, they have solid depth to continue pushing teams to get a better spot for the playoffs. Now, when everybody gets healthy, you hope it all works together, because
that's another thing.
How many games will they have all together? And early on, it wasn't looking the best, but you have 2 MVP people in Harden, Embiid. You have most improved and like 6-man worthy if he came off the bench, like Maxey and Tobias and.
Yeah,
it is. They are a solid
all
team.
Defense. Tobias Harris.
They're a solid team. It's just
kind of one of those jigsaw puzzles.
Man. Yeah,
another one of those jigsaw puzzles that don't really fit.
Yeah, they have a little bit more figured out than like the Heat. I think I use that for, but they always disappoint. It's always like that.
It is sad. Hopefully the 76ers can get it together. Obviously, missing James Harden is going to be big, but this team has championship aspirations.
Yes.
So they're gonna need to get it together.
I think there is true potential to their championship run too. And
There
it's
is.
just
There is. If guys like PJ, PJ Tucker kind of steps it up, Matisse Thybulle can start knocking down some threes, and we get a healthy Harden back, that team is definitely a team to be looking out for. But our final Western Conference team, and arguably one of the best teams in the entire NBA, the 14-6 Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker is playing like an absolute stud, all-star that he is. The why did I just draw
Cameron Payne?
No.
DeAndre Ayton.
I don't know why I just drew a blank on Ayton.
Were you going to say DeAndre Jordan?
I don't know. I don't know. Don't ask me.
Hey, that man been chilling on the bench for the Nuggets.
Fried. Ayton is playing more like the Ayton that we are used to. Yep. It looks like whatever beef him and Monty might have had to start the year sort of maybe not been resolved, but it's sort of been neutrally, all right, we're gonna forget about this for the sake of the team of the season. Like let's just play ball. Yep. And Bridges, career year right now. It doesn't really look like it, but points are up, rebounds are up, assists are up, field goals are up.
He holds the record for like most games in a row without missing. 300 something. That's
he's
insane,
an Iron Man right now. He is an Iron Man right now. Despite the controversy as previously mentioned with Ayton and previously mentioned with Jay Crowder.
Yep.
This team is just fuck it. We want to play basketball, and they're missing Chris Paul. Missed already half of the
and Cam Johnson
so far at this point. They're just fuck it. We're gonna hoop, and so far, Monty Williams has got these boys playing hard. He's coaching hard, and they look like they might be cruising to a number 1 seed. I know it's early; it's only 20 games in, but the team just looks good.
It's kind of funny that Jay Crowder's like, I'm not gonna be a starter, and then the dude who replaced him is hurt, and he's still trade me. I get it. Well, once it's fractured, sometimes it can heal, but like in this case, obviously not. But man, this team, they win. Like ever since Monty and Chris Paul have gotten there, and ever since the bubble when they went undefeated, they have just been winning. Obviously, haven't won a championship, and that's what you want. But there's some winners. Yeah, there's some winners, man.
A couple playoff series too. They've won quite a few playoff series, obviously.
And then they just got absolutely smoked by Luka. But it happens. Luka smokes everyone. All right. But this Suns team, they're just a well put together team. They have the offense. They have the defense. They have their primary guy. They have their secondary guy with DeAndre. They have ball stoppers. Like they have what they need. Now just put it all together in the playoffs.
That's it. Chris Paul a ring. What they have been trying to do forever. If not, he's just gonna say, "Fuck it, LeBron. Can we just play together, please?"
Yeah, let's go.
I still think that's gonna happen at some point. But finally, our last Eastern Conference team, another team that's arguably the best team in the NBA, the 14-5 Milwaukee Bucks. 14-5. Giannis has missed a handful of games. Drew Holiday has missed a handful of games. And their third best player, Chris Middleton, has not even played this season.
Potentially Friday, though. That's what I saw.
Potentially. But they still have probably the front runner for MVP in Giannis currently. You can really argue
for DPOY.
Yeah, you can argue
in Caesar book in Vegas. He is the leader for that's insane, bro. Brook Lopez. What a resurgence he's had.
Hey, he went from a post-scoring big man down in Brooklyn, averaging 20-something consistently.
Their leading scorer.
To a high-end shot-blocking three-point shooting role player. And he's
NBA
had a
champion.
Lovely career so far. But yes, Brook Lopez is there. Guys like Bobby Portis, Pat Connaughton. That run that they went on to win that championship transformed this team's mentality. Budenholzer, I don't know how he got it done.
Man, we were even calling for his job if they won.
We thought it was over. We thought it was really going to be over. They weren't kind of breaking the ceiling. They had their ceiling and they couldn't break it. They were, a second round team. You could
maybe
challenge
the finals.
You could challenge and be a top 3, top 4 seed, but they weren't ever really pushing that a championship level team. And whatever the hell they did in that, when they figured it out, they figured it out.
Giannis was too fucking dominant. Chris
Giannis
Middleton
figured it out.
playing like a top tier all-star.
They
And
figured
then
it out.
Drew Holiday, bro, when you
That
add
was a great
Drew
trade.
with the offense and the defense, and
That
he
was a much needed trade.
doesn't have to be the primary guy, and he just gets to be the, oh, you forgot about me? Dumb. Right. You're dumb. But then they have, how do you feel about Grayson Allen? Because I feel like some people are like, trade him, but some maybe are like,
it's just another piece to the puzzle for them.
I hear it.
Comes in, plays his minutes, shoots his threes. Plays a very similar role to Pat Connaughton, but Connaughton plays a little bit more defense. But it's sort of, they kind of have just those guys that play a very similar role. Honestly, Brooke and Bobby play a lot of the similar roles.
Yeah.
So they kind of just,
and it's funny. That. Last year fantasy, I draft Brooke and he gets hurt. This year I draft Bobby and Brooke's like, "Hey, bro, you forgot about me?" And I'm like, "Hey, bro, I did actually."
That's tough. That's tough. But yeah, this Milwaukee team, arguably one of the best. And again, they're missing arguably
them and the Celtics, bro. Best. It's how is it not those two in the Eastern Conference Final?
And they're missing good players. They're missing Chris Middleton and Robert Williams, respectively. You know what I mean? And again, Phoenix on the other side, missing Chris Paul, the leadership, the leader of the team. You know, some of these teams have figured it out so far without some of their best players. So they're just gonna get better. And this is going to be scary.
You would hope.
And I can't wait for the rest of the season because basketball is going to be a shit ton of fun. But that's going to do it for the basketball portion of the show. As we move on, we're going to talk some NFL. And we're going to do things a little bit differently this time. We have RGTP tiers at the moment. We're going to try a little something different because it's getting nitty-gritty now. Yeah. We're entering week 13, and a lot of these teams are a lot closer.
Still close, but
a lot of teams are a lot closer than expected. We're still going to keep it to just 10 teams for the time being. We might add some more teams, just so we're able to sort of group teams up a little bit better. But we'll start with the bottom half of the top 10, so to speak. The lower tier, we have Cincinnati, Tennessee, and Baltimore representing the AFC. And this is sort of just the playoff, like a playoff tier, so to speak. All these teams we are expecting to get the playoffs. They have an identity. All these teams can run the ball, and they are very physical teams in the trenches. Cincinnati a little bit more frail, suffering through injuries right now, but you have Joe Burrow at quarterback. You're going to get some shit done.
Yeah, I feel like with these three teams, right, it's kind of like rock, paper, scissors. Cincinnati can beat Baltimore, but Baltimore can beat Cincinnati, right? But then like Cincinnati can beat Tennessee, but maybe Tennessee beats Baltimore. Maybe they meet again in the playoffs.
Baltimore and Tennessee just played.
Yeah, like it's just these three teams, I believe, have same records.
I think so.
And they don't strike fear. Like, I think that's the best way for me to describe it is like you see either of these teams in there. Yeah, Cincinnati, you're like, shit, we got to stop Joe. We got to stop the passes. But with mixing out, you don't really have to worry about the run game as much. So it's like, okay, they're throwing.
Yep.
Tennessee, Derrick Henry, you can somehow slow him down. Who are they throwing to? You know, and then Baltimore. They get up 10. They get up 2 scores. They lose.
Baltimore just needs to play every game close until the fourth quarter. Because if they have the lead in the fourth, it's a loss.
The Jaguars were 0-175.
What a game.
When they were down 7 in the last minute. And Baltimore just, there's the end zone. Go ahead. Have fun.
Mixon and Jamar Chase potentially slated to be back this week. It's definitely going to be
let me ask you this, Nips.
Also top 10 defense.
Yes.
That's why they're here. They're on the lower end, but they're here.
Mixon is still due like $13 million next year and the year after that, I believe. How would you feel about like the Bengals drafting another running back? Like you got Bijan Robinson. He is a first-round running back. He's probably going to be taken in the first round, but They just need to get more, and their O-line needs to get healthy again. Like, they need a little bit more in the run. Like, Mixon is cool. He's been there. He's been banged up. He's going to give you all he can, obviously, but he needs someone a little bit better than P. Ryan behind him, you know? And I don't see any of these teams really going far in the playoffs.
Wait,
I
here
would love to see Baltimore. And I think I picked Baltimore to go in the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year. But
I
right
have to
now it's
rewatch. Can't remember.
7-4, and all 4 of their losses are when they're up 10 or 9.
Yep.
Cincinnati, they just struggle at times during the game. So if they catch a bad break and they're going up against the Bills or maybe Miami and they can't get their offense flowing early,
Yep.
both those offenses are putting up points. And if their defense can't keep up, even though he said, super underrated, those are still some high-powered offenses that they're going to be going up against, And then poor Tennessee. Like they're going to be there because their division sucks, but they're probably not making it past the first round, if we're being honest.
Yeah, Tennessee was a team that we didn't. We actually thought was going to take a bit of a step back. They're still here.
I think I
Colts,
kept them around 10.
The Colts truly disappointed us quite a bit. It was a team that we were assuming was going to come out of the AFC South, but not so much. But yeah, Cincinnati.
Oh, the Colts.
Obviously, it's going to be health.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase, Mixon, keeping Joe Burrow upright so he's healthy enough to finish the season. Tennessee is obviously going to play hard. They don't back down from nobody, but the offense is a little bit lacking. They have to win games in a very grinded out fashion. And of course, Baltimore, highly explosive quarterback, super fun to watch, but
Ooh, he's potentially hurt. I saw he left practice with a quad injury, I believe.
And
Speaking of Lamar Jackson,
your question, he says he would not be opposed to that.
Or first on extra pass rusher O-line. Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah,
I definitely feel that.
For sure. It's never too bad to get some extra running back support. But let's move on. We have the mid-tier, and this is a jam-packed one.
Yes.
Here we have Minnesota, Dallas, Buffalo Bills, the 49ers, and Miami. We'll start from left to right. Minnesota obviously is here. Well, first things first. One thing these teams all have in common, a weapon. Whether it's Justin Jefferson, whether it's recently super explosive Tony Pollard, whether it's Diggs, whether it's Ayuk, Kittle,
or Debo, or McCaffrey,
Hill,
or Mitchell, or
and then Tyreek and Waddle and Jeff Wilson,
and Mostert, and I feel like Angled always ends up with a touchdown every game almost.
All of these teams share something in common, and it kind of leans towards their high-powered offense with solid defenses, of course, across the board. None of these teams really will get bullied around all too much, although obviously I know the Minnesota versus Dallas game left some to be desired on that. But these teams,
it was 40-3, bro.
Kirk Cousins plays small on the big stages, and a big game against, But anyways, they also all have question marks. Prime example, the meltdowns to Kirk Cousins. Yeah. The health
is Dak a question?
How far can Jimmy G actually take you? This is the roller coaster of a ride that Josh Allen is going to be consistent on that.
He's been so ass.
That's what I'm saying. All these teams are
his
great.
Numbers
almost,
are comparable
but it's
to like Davis Mills, bro. That's terrible.
All these teams are great, but they also all have something that is
Minnesota loses to Dallas. Buffalo loses to Miami. Dallas could lose to San Fran. Minnesota.
They can all beat each other.
San Fran could lose. It's just like looking at these 5. These are probably the 5 that will push the top 2, and it's no question who our top 2 will be, who the top tiers are.
Yep.
But these right here are, I feel in my mind, maybe the only teams that can give a push for the Super Bowl.
These teams have a super high likely chance of making a conference championship game.
And I'm so glad I was wrong about Miami.
Potential Super. I was on to Miami. I was trying to tell you, Miami was going to, and they're in my division. I'm like, but yes, Miami, like I said, all these teams are legit in some way, but they all do have some sort of a question mark, whether it be, I guess Dallas is sort of health and coaching decisions that, some people still aren't totally set on Mike McCarthy.
Don't worry. You'll have Sean next year.
But the defense has been great. Obviously, Kirk Cousins in Minnesota. What Josh Allen is going to show up? Is it the MVP, borderline greatest quarterback in the NFL right now, Josh Allen? Or is it
Davis Mills?
Davis Mills.
Yeah.
So it's like, It's tough.
My
And then Jimmy
favorite,
G in San
yeah.
Francisco.
My favorite thing out of all these teams, though, has to be Miami's videos where McDaniels and Tua are talking, and he's like, "Hey, bro, I was watching you in high school last night. Dog shit, yo, like like his mechanics, he was like terrible, awful." And Tua's like, "Oh, that's great, pretty much." And
I'm getting better though.
seeing how where like there's a video where he's talking to Flores and he's very respectful. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yes, sir. And then when McDaniels, it's like they're joking. He feels comfortable. Look what happens when your quarterback feels comfortable. The man is
Well, you're also not being told to
ungodly,
throw
but
games anymore
you
with
also have all
everything
these
else happening.
weapons, and your
So
O line is better, and the defense it stayed about the same. Like it is still a competent defense. So out of all five of these, I would love Miami to go the furthest.
I hear it. And yes, Nips, I hear you, Cincinnati. You know, they got to get through Cincinnati. If you could tell,
Yeah, no, it's
Cincinnati was
true.
the first team that was, listed on. They're sort of on the
Yeah,
border to climb up into this because by week, this will change. So Cincinnati has a chance because, of course, they're one of those teams that just have some question marks. Just a
yeah,
few.
it,
There's a few
yeah,
more question marks than these teams. Just a few more question marks than these teams. But, of course, the cream of the crop, the top tier. The best teams in the NFL, and it's not really debatable at this point.
it's not.
Kansas City, number one. There is a gap, and then Philadelphia. No disrespect to
Yes,
Philadelphia, of course, but we'll start with Kansas City. We can both agree is the best team in the NFL.
yeah,
Um, they just get it done. Week in and week out, they just get it done. They've had some questionable games. Obviously, the early loss to Indianapolis early this year was sort
yep.
of questionable. They played some tough games here and there. Obviously, Buffalo also beat them earlier this year, but nonetheless, they kind of beaten up on everybody.
Everyone in that AFC West loses to the Colts. The Chargers haven't played them yet, but
Yeah,
they'll probably lose to them. Yeah, no, Patrick Mahomes, MVP. He is the MVP.
probably.
Um, they will get the 1 seed, most likely.
Yep.
I don't know who they play like the rest of the year,
Oh,
but
Kansas
I
City. We're gonna talk
honestly,
about their
yeah,
game coming up this
I
week. This is
really
doozy.
don't. I don't think they're gonna lose any more games though. Like that's just how good they've been. The Kelsey, no one stops him. Like they try to, but they
Right.
can't stop him. And
Yep.
then Juju, he's caught on. He's had his concussion, but like he's solid. McKinnon, Pacheco, however you say his last name, I'm sorry. Edwards-Helaire, he's hurt, but like when he's there, he's great for the pass game. They signed Melvin Gordon. The defense has gotten better. They still, they need a little bit more pass rushing. But Karlaftis has done his thing. Chris Jones is still a monster in the middle. Like
Yep.
I don't see this team losing anymore. Only time I feel like they'll lose is once they get to the playoffs, and that's if they lose in the playoffs. Like
Okay.
that's
I
just
hear
how good I see the KC team.
Kind of goes back to what we've been saying all off season. Even though, despite losing Tyreek Hill, they still arguably have the best quarterback. They
Yep.
still have arguably the best head coach, and they still have arguably the best tight end. So it's
Yeah.
a weapon nonetheless.
Yes.
It is an outstanding 1-2 punch, and it's going to be tough to beat. Agreed, though, the defense, especially in the secondary, is leaves a little bit to be desired. They banged up here and there. Justin Reed has spent time kicking balls. But yeah, this team is all around solid. Well, I'm going to ask you just a little bit. We're going to talk about their game this week coming up.
Okay.
And Nips also has a question down there, but I'm going to save it for that game, that Kansas City game in particular. And then, of course, Philadelphia.
Yeah. Yeah.
What an
They
offseason.
moved the ball.
It always goes back to the offseason because they really reinvented this team. Brought in a bunch of guys on defense. Another year of Jalen Hurts under center full time. A full year of Sirianni, and then some preseason, regular season preparations. And the team's just clicking now. AJ Brown obviously made wonders for that team. It's still one of the best running attacks in the entire NFL, whether it's Scott, whether it's Gainwell, whether it's Sanders, whether it's Hurts himself.
Right.
You know what I mean? This team's going to move the ball, and then it just helps when hopefully Dallas Goedert comes back. But when he had Goddard, had AJ Brown, Devontae Smith was making some catches. Quez Walker finally was able to step up now that it's sort of him and the Jalen Reagor tandem sort of broke up finally, and they're able to get him more snaps, get him more routes. It seems just clicking on all cylinders. Have arguably the best 1-2 punch in cornerbacks with Slay and Bradbury, just shutting teams down all around. There's not a lot to say about Philadelphia, although they are slowing down just a little bit. Teams are starting to figure them out, of course. 3-1 in their last 4, not winning in so many blowout fashions. Teams are cracking down on them, and it's getting a little bit tighter, but they're still the best team in the NFC.
They also just ran for like 360 yards.
Currently still the best.
That is insane.
They're dogs.
Yeah, no, you look at them, there's no holes in this team besides the injuries, obviously. It's just they had the 1 year last year where they made the playoffs. Jalen Hurts gets in there. Yep. They play hard against the Tampa Bay, but
Big Nip says they're a little overhyped.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that as well, because you know how you have the team like the Cardinals or the Steelers. I am not comparing them to those two teams, because those two teams
absolutely
pitiful. They were pitiful. And
absolutely
terrible. But you could see maybe shades of, okay, we're 14-2 or 17 games now. We're 15-2. We're 14-3. Maybe
bomb week 1.
Maybe 16-1. Right? Maybe they do get the week where they get to rest. But
the rest week.
Yeah, it's just they're obviously the best team in the NFC. I just feel when going up against KC might light
Kansas City
on fire.
Then there's a gap.
Exactly.
You know, it's not like a mile gap, but the gap is definitely there.
Yes, for sure.
The gap is definitely
and
there.
The gap is probably Patrick Mahomes, to be honest. And maybe if you don't want to, MVP, but maybe the true gap is Travis Kelce.
Maybe.
Because you're going to have Nakobe Dean on him.
I'll definitely say coaching gap. I'll give Andy Reid a massive nod in that respect.
Yes. But Dallas Goedert, he's solid. See where he's at when he comes back. But Kelce, man, these two teams face off in the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
Kelce's gonna. Oh my God.
Kansas City's gonna blow them out of the water for Andy Reid. That's what's gonna happen. It's our coach now. Blow them out the water. That is the Tiers, of course. Just missing out were the Jets and the Commanders. We got have to see, Giants, see what you guys do this week. A couple teams eking back in. We might expand this a little bit more just to the 10. We might push it maybe 12, 13 to try to smooth things out a little more. But of course, Mamba, let's get into some predictions for the week. I got a couple games here before we wrap up the show. Let's start it because we kick off the week. Yes, of course, my New England Patriots play host to the Buffalo Bills in our first matchup. I absolutely hate this. I was devastated when I seen that we played them in week 13. I think we played them again in either week 16 or week 17. We host this week. They're coming into town. I am going to pick New England just for that very reason. I think playing up at home, I think we'll be able to squeeze this one out. We played up on the Jets, beat up on the Jets on the last play of the fucking game, luckily. Played a pretty solid game against Minnesota. Lost it in the fourth quarter there. I think the defense
a catch? Not a catch.
Is going to be...
Who knows?
Yeah, they robbed us on the Hunter Henry shit. But nonetheless, not going to argue about that. It's a pretty good game. We do have a potential Defensive Player of the Year candidate in Matthew Judon having one of the quietest, best seasons because no one's really talking about him because our team is a little sus. But I am going to, of course, rock with my boys, the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
But I can see us losing by 30.
I'm going to take the Bills.
I respect it.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bills in this one, but I'm not going to say it's going to be by 30. I'll say at least a touchdown.
I hear our defense is definitely going to play up. We're licking our wounds and we're coming back.
You don't have Damian Harris, so Ramondre, you got to run him into the ground pretty much. Averaging 4.5 yards a carry. Yeah,
good thing he's 30.
Good. Yes. I think this will be hard fought, but Josh Allen will say okay, I need to get my shit together, and I'm gonna predict no interceptions this game.
Oh, hell no. We're picking him
no
off.
Interceptions.
Damn mind. He's going to force a ball in. He's going to get picked off at least once. We might even get 2 off of him.
It's what he always does.
Oh, yeah.
He always forces that pass into – nah, bro.
I love it.
He's throwing none this game.
Let's continue on with the uber disappointing Denver Broncos go into Baltimore to take on Lamar Jackson and company. Of course, I'm going to ride with Lamar and company. Sorry, Broncos country. It's just not time to ride. I'm sorry.
The
You guys
biggest
are
news.
tragic.
The biggest news for the Broncos is the fact that their game got flexed.
And fucking Mike Parcells on the side, literally yelling at Russ, and Russ was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
I got it, bro. I got it, bro."
You know, he came out, he was like, yeah, we need to play better too. We gave up the touchdown and everything, which it's true, but
Of course, the Cincinnati guy.
yeah, Broncos ain't winning, bro.
He's
They not. I'm sorry. If they do, it'll
he's
be because
rocking with
Lamar
Russ.
Jackson didn't play this week. And then even in that,
Don't they still have
Huntley's
Huntley?
not bad.
I was about to say, don't they
Yeah,
still have
Huntley's
Huntley?
not
He
bad.
might be fine. They might be fine.
Yeah, it's just another year where Baltimore, they dealing with injuries again. It's tough. Broncos, you rather have 12 touchdowns or 12 bathrooms. Ask Russell,
Right.
12 bathrooms.
Tough.
Yeah, give me Baltimore.
Can't even get 12 points barely. Sadly. Agreed with Baltimore. The third game on our list here is really here for storyline purposes. That's right. Deshaun Watson is back this week.
God.
He takes the Cleveland Browns all the way down to none other than Houston.
Yep.
His first game back is against his former team. He should be getting absolutely booed out of the building at every opportunity they get. They are going to make this a very tough game. They did just come off a win against Tampa Bay, though, in overtime. I'm going to rock with Cleveland there. I think Nick Chubb is going to just be enough.
A monster.
But
yeah.
I don't know. Houston might want to play up.
It's literally...
We talked about this before.
This is another one of those cases where it's literally only one or two things going to happen, right? Either the Texans' defense is going to be like ungodly and they just dominate this man and they cannot move the ball.
Terrible.
Yeah, it's either Texans' defense is going to go crazy or Deshaun Watson is about to light their ass on fire, and there's nothing they would do. Yeah, and I think that's more likely to happen. So give me the Browns.
I hear it. I do.
But this Texans team, I'm potentially going to pick up that Browns defense because that Texans team's ass.
They might just win you some fantasy points this week. I hear it.
Hey,
I'm in agreement.
I'm right there, bro. I started terrible, and I have fought, and I have clawed.
I've been
my
great.
Running backs and my wide receivers, they finally started doing shit.
In our league, I've been money.
I'm 6, man. I'm finally up to 6.
Most points scored out of anyone in our league by like 50, beating the dogs. But you know what the problem is? For about the first 10 weeks, I allowed the most points, so I was like I
was right.
I've just been mid.
I gave up mad points, and I left mad points on my bench every week.
Oh, I haven't had that for a while.
And thank y'all, I did it this week too, leaving Wilson and Thielen there, and I'm so glad I still won.
I hear it. Let's continue on where we got a matchup of tier teams. That's right, the Tennessee Titans roll into Philadelphia to take on the Eagles in a very interesting game of some hard-running, hard-hitting defenses. Who do you got and why? Ooh,
I have Devontae Smith, yeah, and it goes back into fantasy because like that's like one of the main things because we're always on fantasy because we play it right. Like AJ Brown, this just feels like the game where AJ Brown is going to be like, you traded me. I'm going to show you why you shouldn't have traded me. But I feel like for that same reason, they're going to make sure they guard AJ Brown. So I'm kind of at a dilemma if I should start Devontae Smith or not, right? And I think I have him started. But Tennessee, they play hard, and this could be a trap game for the Eagles.
Okay.
I'm going to go Tennessee. It's tough, but I'm going to go Tennessee.
And rocking with this on this one. I got the Eagles. Score is probably going to look something like that. It's probably going to look something like that. I expect there to be more so of a fourth quarter. I'm expecting kind of a fourth quarter pull away. Eagles probably drop about 10 points, touchdown and field goal in the fourth, and sort of seal things up. Tennessee just doesn't score a lot. They really just don't score a lot. They really have to grind it out. Yeah. It's really going to be a grind out game. Philadelphia just has a few more weapons, obviously, on the other
Yeah.
side of the ball, which should be able to seal the win on this one. But I hear you. Tennessee is definitely it's probably going to be a trap game because that
Oh
Colts
yeah.
game
Oh yeah.
was a trap game for Philadelphia a
Oh
few
yeah.
weeks ago for a little
They
while
almost
there. It got
lost to the
scary.
Jaguars too, for being honest.
It got a little scary. They
Well,
hope if they play down to
they
their
didn't
they
play the
play
best.
down
They
the
didn't know the
competition,
best.
it's gonna be ugly.
Yeah.
Let's move on. One of the most hyped games of the week. Miami goes to the West Coast to take on the San Francisco 49ers in a battle of teams that we believe could potentially make the Super Bowl. Who do you got in?
Shit, it could be a Super Bowl matchup. We see.
It could be. It really could be.
Give me Miami. The 49ers they've lost a couple weapons. Like Mitchell's out for another 6 to 8 weeks. They aren't running McCaffrey.
Back in that,
yeah. McCaffrey, I think they're shutting him down for the week, at least for the time being, because of a knee, I believe.
He's always banged up.
So give me Miami. Give me Miami.
Okay, I respect it. I am going with the San Francisco 49ers. I think the defense is going to be a little bit too much. And this team can match up point-wise because the weapons are very similar, even without CMC and Elijah Mitchell not going. They still have Kittle, Ayuk, Debo. I know Debo has been he's been dealing with a hamstring like all season long. He's been questionable for like last 2 weeks, but he has been playing through it. I think this team has a few more weapons and just a few more game changers on the defensive side of the ball.
And it is, I guess you can say, mentor versus mentee at the head coaches, you know?
Something like that. Nips is rocking with Miami winning by 1 score. He says
honestly,
Miami might have the best defense.
I could see that.
Also.
I could see that
I
score
could
being
see a close scoring
Eagles.
game. Okay, you see a 21.
Yeah.
Okay, I hear it. I don't know about a close game. I'm feeling like maybe there might be a little bit more points. I'm thinking maybe mid to high 20s. If
this
Dolphins team, I'll be a little bit more surprised.
Yeah, this Dolphins team, they flow. Like their offense just flows.
Their defense has always been good. Their defense has been good for the last few seasons.
This game, I'll give you a score. I'm gonna say 30 to 21.
30 to 21. Okay, fair enough. Got some points on the board. 51. Yeah. I like it.
You got Debo, you got IU. That 49ers defense, the new Troy Polamalu,
Hufanga?
His name, what a great name. He'll get him some points too if he has to. Man's a ball hawk.
That boy, nice. Hufanga. Now, down to our last 3 games. The Kansas City Chiefs head up north to take on the Cincinnati Bengals. And Mambi, you already said Kansas City isn't losing a game anymore this week, so I don't even have to ask you who's winning, do I? Oh, you're going to think about it now? You're going to think about it a little bit now?
My heart wants Cincy to win, but
back to Nips's question from earlier. I had reserved it for this moment. Will the Bengals be able to expose that weak Kansas City passing defense?
If any team's going to do it, they have the weapons. I have T. Higgins on my team. Jamar Chase, love him. I traded people to get him in other leagues, like when he was hurt. So they do, and I did say I don't see them losing anymore since he could beat them. They beat him in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, and at home, and in the regular season.
But come on. It's the Chiefs, man. I'm not picking against the Chiefs.
Not picking against the Chiefs. That's tough. I hear it. I'm rolling with Cincinnati.
Hey, I'm glad you did. So, so we're not both against them.
They look like they're about to be healthy this week. Mixon is set to come back. Jamar. Hayden Hurst has had himself quite a few pretty big games this season. Yep. He's made some pretty big catches. Boyd, Higgins, of course. We were talking about this when we were talking about the Patriots in the draft. A wide receiver. The best example is always the Bengals. They literally have 3. And then Burrow just makes his tight ends work. Whether it was Uzama last season, Hayden Hurst this season, he makes his tight ends work. He's not afraid to throw to them. And then when Joe Mixon is on one, he's tough to take down.
Yeah.
Yes. He is tough to take down. Mixon will just steamroll through everybody. Nips has Bengals 30 to 27. That looks like
Looks about right.
On McPherson's foot.
Yo,
I agree.
ever since that man, McPherson, was just kicking field goals left, I swear to you, more McPhersons have just appeared in the NFL, bro. I think the Eagles have one, and then I know I saw another one. And I'm just like, where the hell did all of you come from, bro?
I'm rocking with
I
the
think he's another
Bengals on this.
kicker for some reason.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe. Now, last two games, Sunday Night Football. The kind of frisky Indianapolis Colts head down to Texas to take on Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys in America's Sunday Night Football game of the week. Who do you have and why?
Dallas. That
I
offense.
agree.
They've been rolling. The defenses, it's been great. I have Taylor, so I hope he can do a little bit of something against them. But the way the offense just ran against the Steelers and the end where you're like, bro, what is he doing? Call a timeout. And he's even come out like, oh, I thought we had enough time. And then he's like, oh, I wish I had that bag. Should have called a timeout. You know,
Bro, I was watching, literally yelling at my screen, like, what the? And I messaged you immediately. I was like, what the fuck did he do that for? I was like, that made no sense. It was questionable. Very questionable
it's
decision.
just not good for the Colts. And
Agreed.
if there's a time to lose, a quarterback in this class is not bad.
Yeah, they probably should have just tanked out the season and gone with Ellinger, and just said, sorry, Matt Ryan, you're doo-doo butter. But
that's not the way the Colts run, man.
It seems like Saturday, whenever he decided to take the job, I would assume one thing he did say was like, hey, I'm putting Matt Ryan back in because I want to try to win some games, which is understandable. Yep. You don't want to just come into a job literally midway through the season and just blow it all away. You kind of have to, you want to have your guys buy in like, hey, I'm trying to win. I want to be a winner. We want to win games. Like, we're not just going to tank away because we want a good quarterback. Like, it's his first impression. So maybe it might be time to bring Sam Ellinger out because
y'all losing with Matt Ryan still. So
y'all some doo-doo butter. Of course.
Cowboys? You going Cowboys?
Oh, hell yeah. Okay. Of course. Defense is just way too much for Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is doo-doo butter now. He's doo-doo butter. And I love Pittman. I love Jonathan Taylor. Jelani Woods had himself a game this week.
6'7", bro.
Literally, because I was watching Pat McAfee early in the preseason. They have like 2 6'7" tight ends and I think a 6'8". Something like that. They have like
is Mo Alley?
Mo Alley is either 6'7" or 6'8", and then Jelani Woods is 6'7", and they have a third guy that's like 6. They just have a bunch of big body tight ends. But to wrap things up and end the show, you and the Saints go down to Tampa Bay to take on Tom Brady in our Monday Night Football matchup to end the week. Like previously mentioned, my boys started. Your boys are gonna end it. Mambo. Why are you guys gonna win? You're not picking against you guys, are you?
No, I'm not picking the Bucks. I truthfully do believe we will win this game, and it will be because of Jameis Winston will be playing quarterback. Dude, I am so sick of the Andy Dalton play. Like, I get it.
That's why he's been bounced around everywhere.
He took over for Jameis Winston when he was hurt, and he had his. I think we got like a win with him. We got like 1 or 2 maybe.
I don't know if you guys did,
but it doesn't look like the team wants to play for him.
Yeah,
we got shut out for the first time since 2001. Yep. He's bad.
He's also doo-doo butter.
Yes, like honestly, I think I would rather doo-doo butter. Like,
that is Jameis, right. I kind of forgot. He had him for
yes. Yeah, no, I did. And that was when he was okay.
Yeah, he got he was okay.
Like,
Playoffs. Yeah,
exactly. He was good for the Bengals. Like Andy Dalton, it's over. I don't know why he's still our starting quarterback. We're not winning games with him. Jameis has come out and, it hurts that he hasn't gotten a chance to be the starter again, which Andy Dalton has been terrible. Give Jameis a chance.
Or Taysom Hill. Y'all gave him that weird-ass contract.
I'm getting there. I am getting there, okay? What was it for this year going into the season? Well, Jameis got hurt. We were 5-3 last year. Let's give him a chance. Okay, he got hurt and he wasn't playing the best, so you don't give him a chance anymore. I don't want to go into the next year like, oh yeah, we're going to re-sign Jameis. We're going to give him 1 more year. We're going to try it 1 more time.
For a quarterback.
With what pick? The Eagles have it.
Oh,
exactly. Exactly.
You guys
And
went from
Taysom
like,
Hill.
fuck. Yeah, go
Taysom
ahead.
Hill, if you're not going to give Jameis a chance, our best plays, our most explosive offense this year is when Taysom Hill is in at quarterback.
That's like a recurring
Just start the
theme.
man at quarterback. Just start him.
Theme.
And I know we're missing some defensive players. We're missing some offensive line. I do not care that we suck. Obviously, I mean, I do care that we suck. I want to win. Want to see my team win. But it's the fact that we're losing. We suck, and we're not trying to change. We're not doing any. Andy Dalton has done nothing for us. Jameis can probably provide more because he can move with his legs. Taysom Hill can provide more because he throws, catches, runs, throws a block, uppercuts people. Like, he does everything. And it's just, I'm so sick of this season already.
There's another one for you.
Because they didn't want to pay him. But he also just lacerated his kidney, so he's out.
Who knows if it would have happened for you guys? But I hear it. Yeah, you guys
just we paid Marcus May, we paid Tyrann Mathieu.
You guys were in cap hell in the offseason and somehow went from like negative $80 million to like above the cap. So I don't know how the fuck you guys did it. But
trading
now
Chauncey,
you're in draft capital. Fucking
trading Chauncey, I'm okay with it. If it's like, okay, we couldn't pay him. You find the money for a player like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. That's just what you do. But if you're going to trade a player like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who leads the league, I think, this year in interceptions, I think that right. Like, I know he has mad picks this year. We only got a fifth for it, bro. A fifth? A fifth? Are you kidding me? This man has like 7 interceptions. Nah.
Too bad.
Our team sucks. My team sucks. The Saints suck, bro. It's
okay.
I hope that second round QB is nice. Anthony Richardson? I hope.
Maybe.
I hope.
You never know. You never know. But that's going to do it for us.
Who'd you pick? Saints or Tampa?
Today. Yeah, I'm picking Saints.
Oh, you pick Saints? Are you ready for Tom to come back to the New England Patriots?
No.
No.
I already told you.
Oh,
it's not gonna matter. I'm picking the Saints. I tend to lean New Orleans since Brady's got there. You guys have had his number. And
except for this year.
That team's just...
And playoffs.
I don't know. Tampa Bay's just not on the right page. No, they're just not on the same page.
Mike Evans.
I was just about to say, like, we kind of talked.
I put him on the bench. My starting wide receivers right now is Devontae Smith, Tyler Lockett, Garrett Wilson, and Pickens.
Wow.
And Pickens, bro.
Wow.
That's 2 rookie wide receivers. Mike Evans, he usually struggles against the Saints, so bad matchup. His nemesis won't be there, so maybe he does something good. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. Thank you, Nips. We love you too. Hope you enjoy your game.
My heart.
Hope you get a big dub tonight. Fuck the Clippers. Mamba's plotting on you guys to lose because he's a Clippers fan, so that's fine. But that's gonna do it for us. Tune in next Wednesday. If they know? Be here for Friday wrestling. Mamba, let the good folks know what they got to do.
Like, comment, share, subscribe, notifications on. Have a great morning, evening, night. Day, everything.
Day and night. Let me not.